All right, so rumors have surfaced recently that Jordan Poole, the Warriors guard, might sign a big contract extension with the Warriors pretty soon. It's rumored that he might sign an $80 million contract extension for 4 years, so $20 million a year. And with these recent rumors, I thought about the fact that, how are the Warriors exactly going to manage their contracts in the upcoming years? I'm not really worried about this year, and I'm not really worried too much about next year, but following those years, the Warriors might have some decisions to make, some questions to answer, and so I thought we'd take a look at it. So obviously, it's a no-brainer that the Warriors are going to be, of course, be paying Stephen Curry 50 to 60 million a year. They're going to be paying Klay Thompson about $40 million a year. They're going to be paying Draymond Green close to 30 million a year. And right there, I mean, that is, about $100 million of their payroll. And it's not very typical that an NBA team will spend, about $100 million on 3 players a year. And I mean, that, does make things a little bit, a slippery slope. Let's just put it that way. Because beginning in, right now, they're already due to make a combined 122 million for the Warriors' 3 main stars, Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. And that alone is $3.5 million over the projected salary cap. Now, the salary cap right now, it changes all the time. The salary cap right now is $112 million. So that's already $10 million over it. And so, the Warriors, they kind of find themselves in a tough position. Because, besides those 3 players, you have, Andrew Wiggins, who, of course, has been a superstar this year. And he's set to make about $30 million this year and $30 million next year. But what happens the year after that? And so, it's unfortunate to say this, but I don't know how and if the Warriors are going to be able to keep Andrew Wiggins past the next season after this one. So I just don't know. Now, then you look at, those are our 4 main stars, 3 of which were all-stars this year. Klay Thompson wasn't an all-star, but he is definitely at that level. Then you have Jordan Poole, who, is on a pretty small contract right now just because he hasn't been in the league that long. But, if he gets this contract extension, that's adding another 20 million. And I think for the Warriors, it's like, I hate to say this, but I feel like they might even have to decide between Poole or Wiggins. And I don't really know at this point who really is the better investment, and I hope that doesn't come down to that decision. And also, another thing to think about is you have Jonathan Kuminga, who right now, he's on a decent contract. He's probably going to make about 5 to 6 million in the next couple of years. But if he becomes more of a superstar, his asking price is going to go up. And you can't imagine that the Warriors are going to want to trade him or let him go because he's young and he's talented. Then there's Wiseman, who also makes a pretty big contract for a young player. So the Warriors, kind of put themselves at that certain decisions. And also, you have to remember, if the Warriors do decide to not keep certain players, let's say they don't keep Damian Lee for the long term, maybe they don't keep Nemanja Bjelica, they maybe don't keep Juan Toscano-Anderson, they still have to fill roster spots. And so my fear is, if the Warriors stock up on too many superstar type contracts, anywhere ranging from over than $10 million a year, then they might have to fill roster spots with less desirable players. And I believe the NBA has a policy that you have to have a minimum of 14 to 15 players on a roster. I mean, that's kind of the reason why two-way contracts exist. I mean, the Warriors have two-way contracts right now, and they're very low amounts of money. They're about $500,000 for both each. And so, that raises the question. Then we also have Gary Payton II. What do we do with him? Otto Porter, Andre Iguodala. And I know some of these guys, who knows if Iguodala is going to be in the league much longer. And then this is a big one. You have Kavon Looney, who is set to be a free agent in not too long. He's only making $5 million a year, which I think is a pretty good deal for him because he's, a very good player, but he's also a center, and we do have Wiseman coming back and hopefully at full strength. So the problem with the Warriors right now is they're a victim of their own success. They're such a good team and they have such good players that they might not be able to afford all these players. And the issue is, if these players become, and stay good, and some of them become good, like Kuminga, if he becomes a superstar, other teams that have cap space are going to be able to offer them contracts. Right now, the Warriors team payroll in this season is $178 million, and the salary cap is much lower than that. So that's they're a lot of money over the salary cap. They're about, I think, $60 million over the salary cap, which is kind of crazy, to say the least. But we'll see what happens. Curry is not, like, to be clear, there's certain guys we have to give big contracts to. I'm pretty sure Stephen Curry is on a $261 million guaranteed contract, and which is outrageous, but it's great for him because he's obviously a great player. But in the same sense, we can't get rid of our big three. We can't really get rid of. I mean, I guess you could make a case why we could trade Wiggins in the future. Can't really get rid of Jordan Poole at this point because he's made a huge impact and he's young. Got to keep two of our centers probably. I mean, I think Bielitsa will probably be gone after this season at least, but I don't know. It's all theories until something happens, but I think if we look at the financial aspect, it's a much clearer thing. So let me know your thoughts. I hope the Warriors can figure something out. And also, one final thing I was going to say was this kind of puts general manager Bob Myers on the hot seat a little bit because Joe Lacob is, our owner, of course, and he's a great owner. And he's known to make pretty much like gutsy, risky plays. Like he'll sign Kevin Durant. That was a big one a couple of years ago. And he'll throw a bunch of money at Steph Curry, right? And so the issue is if Joe Lacob is spending, $200 million, close to $200 million on the payroll a year, and the Warriors don't win the finals with Bob Myers' intelligence at general manager, he could be let go. I don't think he will. He's a great general manager in my opinion. But the thing is, the Warriors need to win a championship with this amount of money. It's kind of like in baseball. It's weird how the Yankees haven't won a World Series in like 13 years because they have so much money. But the Warriors, they're even more in a tough position because there's a salary cap in basketball. There's no salary cap in MLB. And if the Warriors are paying the luxury tax, if they're over this salary cap by tens of millions of dollars, and it could be, it could even be up to 80 million a year over the salary cap, and they don't win the finals, we might have an ugly situation. So let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys later, and let me know, just what you think about this. I kind of went into the financials of it, and I'll see you guys later. Go Warriors.